To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for Creatures from the Abyss, aka Plankton. Written and directed by Alvaro Passeri, Creatures from the Abyss stars... No, ladies. When 5 teenagers embark on a boating trip, they stumble on an abandoned yacht in the midst of a storm. Unbeknownst to them, there are also ferocious mutated prehistoric fish running amok on the yacht. How's it going, my passengers, on this voyage to the bowels of hell? I hope you're well and have had time to check out my short horror film, Better Anything, which is currently live on the channel. Go and give it a watch, please. And if you like it, leave a like and maybe even a comment. Cheers. This week, we're going to be taking a look at a pretty unique cinematic experience. Part The Thing, part sleaze, and part enigma. Creatures from the Abyss, or Plankton, which is what I'll call it from now on for simplicity, even though I do prefer the former, is a wildly fun ride that, spoilers, I thoroughly enjoyed from start to finish. Italian actors performing in English and then being dubbed over by terrible American voice actors. Pretty much every single line in this film is magnificent. Plus, I can't believe this came out in 1994. If you told me it was from 84, I would have believed you. I had so much fun with this one that this is going to be the longest video that I've put out in a while, so strap in. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you, you can see this video completely uncut and early at patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons for as little as $3 a month. That's it. Want to see the uncut videos, gain access to the Discord, and see all the Patreon exclusive videos that can't be on YouTube anymore? Go over there now. But more importantly, as I said, Better Anything is now available on the YouTube channel. We've had an amazing response with so many positive comments, and I really can't thank everyone enough. I am so glad you're enjoying it, and once again got to shout out the amazing crew that we had to work on with that film. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, go to the channel now. It's always going to be pinned up as the first video you see, and I really hope that you enjoy it. And finally, can you take a couple of moments to go check out my wife's YouTube channel? She's been doing shorts reviewing horror shorts, but has recently expanded to making full-length videos. Just go give her a sub and maybe check out a video. I think she's wildly entertaining, even if she doesn't. But anyway, I'm in the mood to meet some of the most perplexing technology I've ever seen in a movie, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to see why you should never eat mystery white powder, no matter how much you want to. This is Plankton. The movie begins with a group of friends, Mike, Bobby, Dorothy, Julie and Margaret, on the beach carrying a boat to shore. And that's actually her name on IMDb, by the way. I haven't got a lisp. During their hijinks, Bobby gets himself caught in a net for much longer than you would think before they all jump in the boat and set off. Cut to sunset and then to this overturned gas canister when we find out we're in Miami. This then goes straight into the opening credits, which confused me enough that I had to check Miami FLA isn't a production company on the film. We then get our title card, Creatures from the Abyss. It's always a good sign when low-budget movies have multiple titles. Cut to our heroes as Mike calls Bobby out for leaving the gasoline on the beach. Their motor is dead and they're floating in the pitch black, which means they're Mike pops on a light and checks his compass, identifying where the shore is, and we cut to this. Okay. Trust me, this is going to be your new favourite movie of all time, okay? Just stick with it. Back with the teens, these two have a cuddle as the lads row the boat when we briefly cut to this, and now it's pouring with rain. Mike then gets the idea to lighten the load by dumping the boat's engine, and we cut to this fish lab. We are only 5 minutes into the film and there is a lot going on. Also, the editing is amazing. Anyway, then one of the ladies gets her oar stuck on something floaty. That's a nice sound. Once more. Julie then panics and catches a couple of slaps. When Bobby takes over rowing, we get more fish lab and other random shots that won't mean anything to us yet, then back to the teens when one of them sees a light off in the distance. Mike says it's a yacht and everyone celebrates while calling for help before paddling their way over, which we get a lot of shots of. They finally get to the boat, which is called the Oceanographic Research Institute, and Bobby goes to check it out. He says the coast is clear, so everyone follows, entering this fish laboratory.
Thank God we made it.
I'm sorry I slapped you before.
I'm not. Those sound effects slap. We see the teens are being watched by something when they start to wonder where everyone is and what they were studying here. Mike says they're studying these weird-looking fish when Bobby notices it looks like one of the specimens escaped.
Maybe one of them suddenly came to life to eat us all!
Stupid idiot.
They then look around some more. Margaret finds a beaker of piss and Bobby tastes some mystery white stuff, which is probably not a great idea. The lads then go investigate further, telling the ladies to stay where they are. They get up to the bridge and find it deserted, then try the radio, but it's busted. The fellas tell the ladies the bad news and they explore further, descending into what I imagine a 70s cocaine dealer's living room would look like. Mike finds the kitchen empty, then they head over to the cabins, which are again empty, as well as being extremely blue.
Hi, I'm Jessica Rolex. I give good time.
Now what in the actual f*** is that supposed to be? Bobby is then pulled into one of the rooms, but it's just a prank, bro.
Idiot.
You know, relieve the tension.
Why don't you quit it, huh?
Margaret finds some men's clothes and we get more of the fish tongue, then this site and this site. Nice. Bobby then puts on a shirt where inside he finds a wallet and some ID.
Billy Nicholson. Guy's a chemist.
I think it's time to buy a new bra.
I like this movie, and the choices it's making. Margaret finds a picture, theorizing she's the wife of one of the crew, as Dorothy wonders if the dead body in the water came from this ship.
He could have been the owner of these shoes.
Amazing delivery there, Margaret. No second take needed. Moving on. Cut to the eye sliding along the ground and then to Mike and Margaret entering the lab and checking out this gnarly fish. They see all this shit on a monitor, then have a look at something else as the eye watches them. Mike identifies these things as fish cells, as well as this being an electric microscope, as we find out Mike studied biology at school. They then find a fridge full of frozen fish.
Frozen fish.
And we cut to Bobby making some drinks and talking bollocks about stealing the ship. He seems to think it was previously owned by drug dealers and everything else on the boat was made to fool the Coast Guard. Mike doesn't believe that, but is just glad they're safe for now. He goes on to say the man they found in the water looked like he'd been eaten by piranha and wants to use the lab to find out just what in the f*** is going on around here. Unfortunately, Bobby still doesn't agree.
I'm telling you, the stuff in the lab is drugs.
What exactly about this place screams drugs to you, Bobby? Can you synthesize cocaine from a fish? Can you? Can you? Do you want to try? I mean, we're here, we might as well try. Bobby then minces across the room and pops on a CD. Bobby manages to convince Dorothy to have a dance when Mike says the smartest thing he has all movie.
Meanwhile, why don't you cook up something to eat?
Patriarchy!
Hey!
Sorry, babe. It was just a joke. Just a little joke.
That's what I thought, you little... Now, when is this chick gonna show me where she's from?
I love you so much. Margaret and Julie then go to the kitchen where they find lots of supplies and fresh food, meaning the crew abandoned the vessel recently. Cut to Bobby and Dorothy slow dancing while Mike presumably tugs his pud, then to the ladies cooking up din-dins.
Julie? Wake up! Julie? Are you crazy? The fish is on fire, goddammit!
Julie then tries to tell Margaret the fish were moving, but she doesn't listen. Cut to Bobby and Dorothy dancing again when dinner is served.
Finally, I'm starved.
I hate Bobby with every fibre of my being. I hope something truly horrendous happens to that. Anyway, they eat with Bobby again, giving me more reasons to hate him, like backwashing the bottle of wine with a mouthful of food. The party is then interrupted by a sound from below, which the ladies tell the lads to check out.
Hi, it's 8 o'clock. What's happening?
What the f*** is that thing? Bobby takes a flashlight to go check as Mike is joined by the rest of the group. They then hear a loud noise, and when Mike calls out, Bobby doesn't respond. We also get another great line here.
Don't play games!
If some of you think I'm playing too many of these lines, I have to let you know I've left out a ton more. Another reason for you to go check this movie out for yourself. Mike lights a candle and goes to investigate as Bobby's moans echo through the halls. But of course it turns out to be a prank.
I scared the crap out of you. You son of a bitch.
Bobby then takes Mike to show him what he's found, a big old bag of drugs. They also find illustrations of your mum and a book about creatures from the abyss. Bobby grabs the drugs and they go to leave when they hear a strange noise. They investigate and discover a man passed out behind barrels of fuel. They take him back upstairs and lay him down as he starts coughing up. Mike then finds his ID, revealing the seaman demon is one of the scientists that were working on the ship.
Let's toss him into the ocean.
Always kidding around, aren't you?
Okay, this is the first time I'm actually agreeing with our boy. Margaret gets bit and Bobby says the crew overdosed him on purpose, then left him. Then Mike tells everyone the new guy just needs some rest and everyone should go to sleep.
Oh no, darling. This room only has 2 beds.
So what? You and me only need 1 bed.
No deal. This room is reserved for girls only.
Cut to Julie and Dorothy in bed when Dorothy starts having some tummy troubles. So she runs to the bathroom and throws up. Oh, that's not good. What the f? Why have you been eating bugs, Dorothy? One of the bugs jumps on her foot, so Dorothy runs, getting the attention of the rest of the gang. She tells them about the bugs, but of course they don't believe her. Then when they go to check the puddle of vomit, it's completely bug-free. Mike then accidentally activates the shower.
Hi, I'm Susie. How would you like to have a shower together?
What the f***ing is going on with the technology on this boat? What is happening?
Hey, honey, I prefer it with tits.
The boys seem to think she was just dreaming all of this, and when they tell the others, they get the natural response.
No, it's not true! Take me away from here! Anywhere else! And I don't give a damn about the weather.
That's the last time Mike tells Dorothy to stop being hysterical. Mike manages to break away and they all run upstairs as the random scientist watches. They get to the lab and are about to go outside when Margaret tells Mike and Julie to put on these jackets which have just sort of appeared out of nowhere. Outside, Mike checks the lifeboat, finding a dead body inside and an axe, which is exciting. I don't know about you, but as I'm watching this, I'm getting a real survival horror video game-ish type vibe. Like a Resident Evil knockoff. That's probably why I'm enjoying it so much.
We won't get out of here alive.
Let's hope! I'm having such a good time.
Stay with your sister.
Cut to the group leaving Julie to watch over Dorothy and then to the scientist jacking it before taking a sip of water from Mike. Mike then asks if he's feeling better and we get this edit. I feel like I'm on mushrooms, man. Cut to Mike entering the lab. And I'm sorry, but we get another great line delivery here.
I have to find out what happened here. Something is really wrong.
Pure perfection. Mike tells Margaret about the hole in the lifeboat and the shirt in it, which earlier he said was a stiff, leading me to believe it was a dead body in there, but whatever. Then says he needs to find out what they were researching here. He then boots up the computer, which is apparently a hologram or something.
Index.
Again, what is going on with the tech on this ship? Are we in the future? They never did specify what year it was. The Ice spies on them doing research, then follows Margaret as she looks at some shelves. She comes back and steps on whatever it is, getting a little fright, but when they look for it, there's nothing there. Margaret then accidentally turns on this monitor, showing a guy not having a very good time. Mike concludes these images are being broadcast from a diving bell at the bottom of the ocean, and this is where he thinks the crew is. More data pops up as Mike says they found dozens of species once thought extinct. Cut to Julie in the shower.
Slow massage, up and down in sensual strokes.
Thank you, movie. Then to the eye view and back to the lab where Mike learns more. Basically, they found some super old fish that is like a living fossil, is carnivorous and can live out of water. Also, the shower is telling Julie to double-click her mouse.
Good, now fondle yourself.
Margaret then sees this fish wake up and things take an interesting turn. Mike manages to wrestle the fish off of Margaret and dabs at Annette while the others go to check out the commotion. They head to the lab and Julie takes Margaret away when Mike tries to search for the fishy. But of course, our resident dickhead Bobby doesn't believe him.
Trying to convince me that one of those fish that belongs in a museum bit Margaret, huh?
Fish slap! Mike somehow doesn't see the fish on the floor right in front of him, and we have a tense scene of them searching as thunder cracks in the sky outside. As is this movie's style, we get way too many shots that go on for way too long until eventually the monster attacks.
Get it, Mike!
This movie's so good, I'm not even being sarcastic. Yes, Bobby, credit where credit's due, that was a sick shot. Cut to another fish lurking outside when Mike gets all pissed off and starts destroying the other fish in the lab. Again, this goes on for ages, ending with him sort of just poking at this fish, then he sits down to catch his breath. Bobby says it's over now, but Mike is still worried about the one fish that broke out of its container. They then leave, again not noticing the fish looking at them from like 3 feet away. Mike is literally looking directly at it. Can these things turn invisible? Cut to Mike checking on Margaret and giving her a kiss on the forehead, then getting in the top bunk and looking at these drawings of your mum again. We see everyone else is chilling in their rooms when Mike does some more research.
That is at great depths, Nectopedes, given the absence of the female, are carnivorous and gay.
Gay fish. He then reads about Plankton for a bit, hence the title, before getting out of bed and giving Margaret a very uncomfortable stare, then leaving. Cut to a reused shot from earlier in the film, and then to Mike asking the scientist a question.
How long have you been f***ing fish?
What? How many scenes have I missed? The scientist backs away as Mike hilariously tells him these things happen and leaves when Labcoat pulls out a syringe of whatever the f this is supposed to be while whispering, "I'll get them." Cut to Julie waking up and quietly leaving the room when she's jump scared by Bobby. They then go to his room and things get saucy. Ah, you had to turn it on to turn it on. Whatever. Bobby is obviously a so Julie tries to leave, but she finds the door is now locked. She tries to get the key from Bobby, clearly not wanting to bang anymore, and we cut to Mike doing some more research.
Has been known to become sexually aggressive when erotically stimulated by inquisitive minds. Plankton.
It's a gay fish and it's horny as f. Apparently it's contaminated plankton that's making the fish mutate, and it looks like Mike is about to get bit when we see it's just Margaret.
You almost gave me a heart attack.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to frighten you. I woke up, didn't see you in your bunk. I was worried.
He then gives her a kiss on the cheek and gets back to work. Cut to Bobby and Julie now banging, okay, and then to Mike explaining to Margaret, who apparently doesn't know what plankton is, that it was contaminated by toxic waste, and then when the fish ate it, they mutated. Then one of the fish killed the whole crew, and this is apparently what the sucker looks like. Margaret wonders why that one scientist didn't die, and Mike doesn't know but says he's sexually crazed, apparently. Oh, and the powder that Bobby found is actually dried out plankton that he ate earlier, right? The white stuff? Well, I hope that doesn't affect him in some strange, awful way. Cut to Bobby absolutely heaving his junk into Julie when he pulls the most aggressive face I've ever seen.
We gotta tell him, if he just touches the stuff, it's gonna be deep shit. It'll be fatal.
I think that ship has sailed, Pickle. No pun intended. Anyway, then we find out these two are engaged and Margaret is pregnant. Whatever, let's just get back to the Jesus Christ, Bobby, you're gonna the soul out of your body. Among other things. I'm gonna pretend that's just to get through this. Julie finally opens her eyes to see the mess that used to be Bobby's head and starts screaming, which Mike and Margaret hear. The thing that used to be Bobby holds Julie down and continues to bang when his eye falls into her mouth, which she spits out. Tentacles shoot out of Bobby's back and we get this amazing shot of his mutated face, which then turns into a giant fish. See, what did I tell you? This movie is amazing! Fish Bobby then puts that ass to sleep and continues to plow when Mike and Margaret witness the sickness.
Oh my God.
Mike then grabs a fork gun, you can't call that a harpoon gun, and kicks the door in to see the Bobby monster has vanished. He follows a trail of blood to the closet and rips it open to find a goopy hole and whatever the this is supposed to be. Margaret wakes Julie up and it seems she doesn't remember getting turned out when we see the scientist still with this smoky vial of whatever. Mike tries to wake up Julie, but the girls run out of Bobby's room when the closet door falls off, I guess. And the polar bear gives them the side eye. They then hear another noise and go to investigate, discovering Bobby is fine.
Mike, you crazy? You say I'm the one who does dumb things. You could have killed me.
Thankfully, we see Bobby may not be all that okay, and Mike wonders if he's losing his mind. Julie doesn't remember anything fishy happening, and Mike decides to get a drink.
It's midnight. It's midnight. I would be careful if I were you.
What are you? As the teens enter the bar, the scientist stuffs a smoky syringe into his pocket and Mike pours some drinks. Then he goes to give the scientist a shot while they make this sound. He whacks off his arm and Mike goes back to the bar saying how he feels sorry for him, even though this keeps whispering, "I'll get them." Bobby was right, chuck that overboard. If my wife was acting like that, she'd be going for a swim.
Hey!
Sorry. Margaret checks out Julie's tum-tum when Mike sees something back there.
Mike, what is it?
There's something back there.
Apparently it's nothing, so they all decide to go to bed when Margaret checks on Bobby, but he's nowhere to be found. Then the toilet does this, toilet paper comes out of the ceiling, the tap won't work, the shower turns on, and the bathroom AI gets demanding.
Use your fingers. Your fingers. Hi, I'm Sissy. I'm yours.
How does this film keep getting better? The tap finally does work and Margaret tries to wash her hands when she's suddenly caught by a tentacle. Mike hears the screams and falls out of bed as Margaret tries not to drown in the sink. Mike does eventually come to the rescue, cutting the tentacle off of her neck, then decides they all need to get the f*** out of Dodge. He then goes to wake up Dorothy and drags her out of bed when this happens.
Leave him alone!
Help him, Margaret, for f***'s sake! And again, we get a billion shots cut into the various angles they filmed until the crab claws press on Dorothy's temples and she shoots a fish out of her mouth. Mike then says he needs to destroy these monsters, leaving Margaret with the fork gun and heading downstairs. Julie continues to moan about her now fish sister as Mike gets scared by a mouse. Then she says she feels terrible and starts pounding on her tum-tum. Mike pierces the fuel cans we saw earlier, flooding the lower level as we see Julie has now shit herself, which is pretty sexy. Mike sets the candle down like some sort of fuse, but when he tries to go upstairs, he's confronted by the Bobby monster, which you cannot deny looks pretty cool. Mike shuts himself in this room but drops the keys and searches for it when the monster bursts in to find the room empty. It seems Mike gave him the old switcheroo, climbing through this opening and locking the monster downstairs. He then hops it back upstairs and discovers Julie shitting out mutated fish eggs. Lightning strikes the ship for some reason and Mike screams out for Margaret when the ship blacks out. He searches for her, the candle burns down and lights the cloth, then Margaret reveals herself and the couple confirm they're both okay after a tense standoff. We see the fuel catch on fire but gets stopped by the sand before it can get to the Bobby monster room as Mike struggles to get the scientist upstairs and Margaret starts to moan in pain.
Mike!
Yes, Margaret?
Mike, it's happening!
Oh no, I hope your fiance's okay and she's pregnant.
Promise me that you'll kill me!
I can do that. Night-night, Margaret. I was 100% sure you were going to make it. Also, the scientist isn't very empathetic in this moment.
Wake up! Leave her alone! There's more pussy in the planet if we can save it!
He's not wrong. Downstairs, the fire gets past the sand as Mike and the scientist climb the stairs, entering the lab. They find the radioactive container has been opened, even though this is the first mention of such a container. Then Bobby jumps out and eats the scientist's face off. Mike is able to escape just as the ship explodes, landing in the water. As he swims, we see these three eggs teasing a sequel that we'll never get to see, and the film comes to an end. The end! Well, there we have it, folks. We found it. My new favourite bad movie of all time. Plankton, congratulations. When it comes to good bad movies, I think the movie's most entertaining element is always the performances. Even in bad movies with little to no gore, all it takes is some quotable lines and incomprehensible choices to make it memorable. And when it comes to Plankton, I think we might have found some of the best there is. The story is simple enough, with a group of teens getting lost at sea, finding a seemingly abandoned ship, and then basically it's the thing with fish monsters. It's a very straightforward story as they spend the first half slowly uncovering the mystery and the second half trying to survive. I do have some questions though. Where are the bodies of the other scientists? We're only shown 2 IDs, but there seems to be quite a few cabins. There should either be multiple bodies or multiple monsters, and we don't get either. Why is the one surviving scientist barely verbal until the end? I know he's seen some shit, but you could have given these kids the heads up. Why is the ship so much bigger on the inside? What is going on with the tech? The talking fish clock, the super horny shower AI, the holographic computer monitor, and that mixed with the clearly 70s aesthetic. Where did the radioactive container come from? It's never mentioned until the ending. What was in the scientist's syringe? I assume something to kill the monster, but it's never explained and goes nowhere. Onto the characters, and while I don't want to single anyone out because they're all over the top and terrible, I must say I hated Bobby the most, and his death was extremely satisfying, but more on that in a minute. What I love most about it, as I said in the intro, is we get Italian actors speaking English on set with presumably thick accents who are then dubbed over by maybe the worst American voice acting I've ever heard. It's just amazing from top to bottom. Like I said in the breakdown, there are plenty more great lines I didn't highlight, so you've got to find yourself a copy. Next is the gore, and while this isn't the bloodiest movie in the world, we do get a couple of amazing moments. Of course, the centerpiece of the film is Bobby's transformation mid. The effects work here is phenomenal for a film of this level, at least to start with. Bobby's head mutating as all sorts of he pushes its way out of his mouth had me stunned on a first viewing. It does all fall down a little when it turns into a giant puppet fish head, but I was blown away and really didn't expect it. And poor Margaret catching the fork to the face looked brutal, almost like an effect you'd see in an early Friday the 13th movie. Then there's the monster Bobby stop motion that I just adored. As with the transformation, I really didn't expect to see anything like that in a movie of this nature. Production wise, the film is fine. We get some eccentric sets and some wonderful lighting. The music during the climax was great as well, but the editing did seem a little strange at times. What was that random cut to the girl in the shower for no reason? Not that I'm complaining, but it kinda stuck out. I suspect there were a lot of scenes trimmed out of either the edit or just never filmed. Like with Slasher from the last episode, I would love to read the original script. I'd say the worst aspect were the Compton effect shots like the lighting and explosions. There was a good amount of practical fire on set though, so that's fun. Again, I'm praising this film on what I'm used to seeing on productions of this level, and I think they did an excellent job. In the end, Plankton is a wonderful surprise for me. It's got mental performances, surprisingly great effects, a healthy dose of sleaze, and never gets even slightly boring. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed covering a movie this much. Track yourself down a copy and board this wonderfully awful vessel immediately. So that was my review for Plankton. What do you lot think? I had an absolute blast with this movie, and even though it takes a little while to get going, like I said, I was never bored, which is more than you can say for some of the gorier films that I've covered in the past. The wonderful dub does a lot of heavy lifting here, but the healthy dose of sleaze really helps. What was that shower scene? And when the gory effects did hit, good lord did they deliver. Bobby's transformation, that entire scene, has to be one of my favourite bad movie cinematic experiences of all time. Speaking of which, if you want to see Margaret get forked in the face completely uncut and early, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can find the uncut version of this review, plus others with more stuff being added every single week. We got the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews, /comic breakdowns, and the Discord. And all that can be yours for as little as $3 a month. You can pledge more, I really appreciate it, as I need that extra money to help advertise my short film Better Anything on as many platforms as I can. Better Anything, a short psychological horror film, is available now right on this channel. Go watch it. Go watch it now. Go on. Go watch it. So that's it for another week. Like the video, leave a comment, and click subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons, and during Bobby's transformation, I like to think that there was still a little piece of him left right up until he fully transformed. That's why he was trying so hard to crack a nut off before he was gone forever. Good lad. See you next time.